He's Jeff King. I'm Andy Erickson. This is not another shooting show. We go to Nigeria. Was it Nigeria? I think it was Nigeria. Yes, it was. Where an herbalist by the name of Ismail Usman. Now, it says accidentally shot himself while testing a bulletproof charm he had prepared. But I think he intentionally shot himself while testing a bulletproof charm he had prepared, is how this news story from igbarrettvnews.com. The command spokesman or spokesperson, Josephine Ade, confirmed the incident, stating that a distress call had been received from a resident about the event, which occurred in a village. Usman sustained life-threatening injuries after using a locally made gun to shoot himself in the stomach, believing the charm would protect him.
Respect.
Yeah, it's ingenuity. Police officers from the Baijin division responded promptly, finding him in critical condition. He's recovering. Ade stated that Usman will face charges for unlawful possession of firearms and attempted suicide, even though it doesn't sound like he was attempting suicide. But anyway, it violates Section 231 of the Penal Code Law of Northern Nigeria.
I just gotta say, I have mad respect for this dude, because there's a lot of people who talk about like these charms and these things will protect me. This dude tested it and he found out the scientific method is not nice.
It's rather brutally honest. You know, like, it was the charm just like, oh, this will make me bulletproof. That is sort of what it wasn't what I imagined. I imagined like, oh, if a bullet hits this thing and then that's bulletproof. But actually, I think you're probably correct. It was like, I have a special power now. Yeah,
I love reading the stories about like these armies and these groups that are like, I am bulletproof now, and then you're like, I remember reading about, I think, like a Haitian warlord or a Rwandan warlord or something who was like known as the bulletproof or whatever until he got shot, and then everyone abandoned him because like, oh shit, he can get shot.
Yeah. Okay, so Jeff and I both spent time outdoors in the cold with guns this past weekend. I was hunting deer in Union County, South Dakota, my hometown county, and saw jack shit.
Uh-huh.
Now, we saw some deer when we were in the truck, when me and my youngest son left, because he had to get home for a Fortnite premiere, I guess, that was happening in the afternoon. And then I hunted the evening and didn't see shit.
This new generation.
Yeah. But I was just glad he went with me. That was the whole point, though, was for him to just go with and experience. And he had a ball. He had fun. In hindsight, I wish I would have taken him to the Black Hills, because then there would have been action. And every time I've taken one of my kids hunting around here, we don't see anything. We don't see a fucking thing. And I think I'm done hunting anywhere near where I live. It's at least hunting deer. It sucks.
Is it over-hunted?
No, it's Eastern hunting, and I don't like it. You have to sit and do nothing and wait for something to walk by in sort of an ambush style of hunting, where I prefer to go out west where there's big wide open spaces and you can sit against the side of a tall hill with binoculars and glass around and go, ooh, is that deer? And then you pull out a spotting scope if you can't tell, and you're like, nope, that's an elk with big fucking antlers. Can't shoot that, but that's really cool. That's what I prefer to do. Is that sort of hunting where you're sitting and glassing around and then finding it, and then you're active. You're not just sitting there going derp derp derp. I used to make fun of all these dudes that would basically build elevated cabins with heat and kitchens and shit and shooting platforms. But I'm at that point where I'm like, yeah, if I hunt here, that's the only way I'm doing it. And I don't want to do that, so I'm just not going to. I'll go somewhere else. I just won't hunt East River, South Dakota anymore. I'm over it. And I'm not saying I wouldn't go pheasant hunting or anything around here. I actually found a great pheasant hunting spot. That was the good thing that happened this weekend, was I found a killer pheasant hunting spot down there. But yeah, it was cold as balls in the morning. I severely underdressed. I had this new pair of fleece lined pants I thought would be enough. I was wrong. It was 8 degrees when we got there, but there was zero wind.
Yep.
So it was I was fine until that 4-mile-an-hour wind kicked up, and now it sucks.
Correct.
Now I don't have enough on my legs, and it sucks because I didn't bring my bibs because it's not going to be windy. I don't need my bibs. What do I need my bibs for? Because
Yep.
any wind gives you wind chill, and that's why.
I've made that mistake so many times. I now just keep my coat and an extra sweatshirt in my car because I'm like, you've done this before. You fucked this up multiple times. And I was happy to have them today.
I fucked up when I went elk hunting 2 years ago on the first trip out because there was I intended to stay 2 more days, but between my transmission going to shit and the weather turning drastically worse than it was supposed to be, I did not have the gear for it. So that kind of screwed me. As far as the hunt goes, though, I ran out to the gun club on Friday afternoon quick to zero the rifle I intended to shoot deer with here East River, which was my 6-ARC AR. And I also, in the process of all, when we were talking about the other 6mm rifle I shot a deer with, and it was a little off, but it was a solid copper bullet and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, what has never let me down is my 30-06. I think I'll bring that and make sure that is still zeroed. And guess what? It was.
Yep.
I tipped it over elk hunting 2 years ago and hadn't used it since, and I still had the same bullets left over. And guess what? I hit either side of a paster at 100 yards.
That should do.
With a not great rest. Yeah, that'll do. My trusty old Savage 116. It's a dandy of a rifle. So the AR was like running slow and dirty and kerchunk, and nope, we're not kerchunking, we're bolting. Yep. And that's it.
I was talking to a buddy that went hunting in Wisconsin, and he was talking about, like, he bought a 30-06. I think it was a Savage bolt action, and he goes, yeah, this did it great. And, like, my brother has like 60 guns, and he wouldn't even sell me one of them because, he might need it someday, even though he never uses them. And he's like, yep, I smoked one like first day. No one else in my family has got one. And I'm like, hell yeah, brother. But it goes back to your point of, like, you're going to fire less than 5 rounds out of your gun and for the entire season. You don't need to get super out there with it.
No. I wanted to shoot a deer with this other gun, though. But because it was cold, and of course I hadn't like oiled or cleaned that upper, I don't remember the last time I took that bolt carrier apart. And when I was double checking the zero, it was not wanting to close. And this time it wasn't the bad ammo. It was a combination of weak spring, dirty, and cold. Yeah. And the weak spring is intentional because of tuning issues with that gun. But so I'm just gonna bring a 30-06 bolt gun that always kills deer. It always, even if I hit a bad hit, they're always dead. It's like a lightsaber. It's just like dead. So anyway, that was my time in the cold. Jeff shot a match today.
I did, and all my buddies were like, what about off season? What about off season? If I'm wearing pants, we're in the off season. Mm-hmm. That's the rule, because I'm not there to try hard.
You can still shoot matches, sure.
Yeah, like Lane shot the match with my PCC because he was like, I don't have any motivation to shoot this match like seriously, so but he did actually shoot it more seriously than he did last time he shot PCC, where he basically pointed stick at brown thing and pulled trigger, and that didn't work as well that time. But this time it worked. So yeah, it was, I want to say 16 degrees when I showed up at the range at like 8:30.
Oh, you didn't do like a later in the day time when it's not punitively cold?
No, because my club is very stuck in its ways, and it takes a lot of momentum to get it to change even basic concepts. And so the original old school match directors will argue that if we change times, people are still going to show up at the time they always signed up because they don't read this and that and the other. Because,
and then when they don't, when they show up too early, then you go, yeah, read your email, dumbass.
Right. I agree with you 100%. Not that today. I mean, it ended up being a like you had, the no wind actually made it kind of a nice day. I was battling that annoying time when you have a sweatshirt and a coat on, and you have to keep taking the coat off because you're getting too warm, but then you get too cold in the sweatshirt until you keep putting it on and off.
That temperature, when there's no wind, that temperature is colder than you think. Like, you can be very comfortable well into the teens with not a ton of stuff on if you're moving around.
Yep.
If you're just sitting still, yeah, you're going to get cold. But if you're moving around at all, resetting, shooting, whatever, I mean, you need more than a hoodie, but you don't need a parka, really.
Yep. So overall, it was a fun time. Steven was the match director, and he puts on a good show. We used Practice Score 2.0, which was all fancy and shit, but it worked just like Practice Score, so that was nice.
It did work. Well, that's good.
Yep. I was very worried about like what you had issue with of like when I was cycling my match gun, it didn't quite feel like it was very smooth. And I was like, oh, yeah, for all of you south of the Mason-Dixon line, we have this cold makes things not run well.
Yeah. And we have to add stuff to diesel to make it not freeze and gel up.
Yep.
Actually, they changed the recipe for diesel up here in the wintertime.
Yeah, so my gun, I went into every stage going, please work. And
well, did you oil it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it didn't have the smoothness that I was expecting. So
did you have your can of Gun Medic with?
Yes. And
Hoppies, will you sponsor us? We talk about this shit every episode. Brought to you by Hoppy's Gun Medic. Are you shooting a match when it's fucking cold? Get Hoppy's Gun Medic. It'll make your gun run again.
Exactly. But gun ran fine. I only had two big mistakes I guess one mistake.
Was one of them shooting in the cold?
No, actually.
Oh, okay, good.
I wasn't unhappy that I was there. I slept like shit, and then I tried to take a nap, and I wasn't able to fall asleep. So I am running on adrenaline and a head cold. So it's awesome. But no, it was a fun match. We had lunch afterwards. But like first stage I knocked out of the ballpark. Like 100% win, beat Lane shooting a PCC. Like it was awesome. And then going to the next stage, I'm like, can you do that again? Like, is that a thing we can do again? And I could not.
No. It sucks when you find out your dick's not as big as you think it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that part was frustrating. And I had a stage where I stepped in, went Alpha Mike and moved on, but I had to come back to that spot, and I was like, oh, I'll stop and make that up. I made it up with another mic. So that was annoying.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was a very good day to shoot with buddies, and I also was shooting with the cop squad. That was extra interesting. Because they were all very nice. What I noticed about a lot of it is they have kind of like ritualized how they handle a gun to the point that I don't know that they think about why they do the thing. I think they do the thing because they were told to do the thing without understanding why they do the thing.
And they never do it any other way in any other context.
Right. So like we have several cops that have started shooting with us, and they're nice dudes, and they participate and help reset and all that stuff. But like when they're handling a gun, it's like watching those tactical drill videos from like the mid 2000s because that's when they learned it all. And so they're like flipping them. One guy flipped his mag out, and I almost caught it in the air.
Flipped it? You mean like they waggle the gun sideways?
Did the wrist flip?
Because it's a Glock and they don't fall out easy?
Well, it was actually a Walther, so but he came from Glock, so yeah, he did the wrist flip, and it like went in the air, and I had the timer in my hand, but I like kind of reached out. I'm like, no, don't try to grab that.
You know where I figured out with Glocks how to keep that from happening? If you just let gravity do its job, they fall out. They really do. Even if they're empty, they still fall out. They might be a little gritty. It might not fall quite as nice. If you don't hold the gun sideways when you reload or when you hit the mag release, it'll fall out.
Yep.
But if you hold it sideways, it just sits there.
Yeah.
It's not spring loaded, you know. You have to hold, and I actually trained myself to get into the habit of when I go to hit the mag release, I angle the gun so that the mag is pointed straight at the ground.
Yeah.
Like when I hit that button, it's like whoop, it poops it out, and then I shove another one in.
Yep. Yeah, we had one cop that when I first started shooting, he would grab the base pad and throw it. and he was shooting 45. So these mags weighed a good bit, but he was trained that when you went for that mag change, he would grip it, rip it, and then get the next one in there. And we were at an indoor match, and he threw it so hard against the wall that it cracked. Yeah, it was. We were like, you could just hit the button and the thing will happen. But
I shot with as far as cops go, he was a very high level shooter, very good 3-gunner. Not a big USPSA guy, but he was a very good 3-gunner. And I shot Area 3 with him one time, and he was shooting PCC, and something in his bolt carrier or something died, and it turned into a single shotgun. And so every shot he's doing tap, rack, bang, and he was doing it, after a while I would have figured out, I have something broken in my bolt, and I would have just yanked the charging handle back each time.
Right.
Instead of doing the tap. But
yep.
But it was but the thing is, part of it is just pounded into their head. And when they have a malfunction, now if they're doing it when they're just reloading, that's kind of silly. Like, why would you tap rack to reload?
Right, and that's what,
especially when it's sitting there locked open.
Right, and that,
I know what's wrong.
Right, it's either that would happen or it didn't, because it was cold or whatever. It didn't lock back, so they tap racked, and then it would be locked open, and you're like, okay, like you probably could have, if you counted the rounds, you might have assumed that you might have needed some more.
Do you count rounds?
I figure out a good place to reload, and I throw a reload in there.
Okay, I don't count at all. Like, it's always a mystery to me whether I'm going to have enough bullets or not. I plan my reload, yes, but I don't.
I'm trying to get better, because I did have a stage where I was like, I saw someone reload, and I go, oh shit, I'm supposed to reload on this stage. Ruh-roh, and like I was like the next shooter.
Yeah. But I don't count while I'm shooting.
Oh no! Oh, absolutely not.
That's what I meant.
No. There's a point, like, if I'm running a stage with one mag and I've thrown some makeup shots, I start going, this gun might need to a little lighter. Mm-hmm. Normally it's like, oh hey, you've done some shit over here, you've reloaded, you're doing some shit over here, end of equation.
Yeah.
But, one of the other kind of interesting actions that my brain doesn't comprehend is during the unload and show clear. They each had their own kind of style of doing it, but it was so over the top that I was almost confused as the RO, because unload and show clear, for those of you who might not be USPSA shooters, you unload, so take the magazine out. I have seen people forget that part. Show it clear, so you hold the slide back, point it, or show it to the RO, and then you pull the trigger. End of equation. It has, and there's a bunch of mechanisms there that have told, normally I can, see the round go bling off into the sky, or I know what's happening. But they would turn it into this, this production where they're shoving their fingers in the breech face and doing all this shit. And I'm like, the sun is out, right? You can just look into it. Brass is yellow. Your gun is black. We can see the difference.
Yeah. There's not brass in there. I mean, it is what it is. That's their habit. Okay. As long as you, that's cool. You finger banged your pistol, but you need to show me clear.
Right. Well, and
you're not, if your finger is up your barrel's ass, I can't tell if it's clear or not. So
right. Because again, if you're just going through the motions of it, you're actually preventing me from seeing that if there is ammunition still in there. And one of the things that made me think about, because I hung out with Lane the night before, it's a whole other conversation, and we talked about fighting, because it's one of our common interests. And a lot of martial arts have almost institutionalized and ritualized the actions and responses that when you get into an actual fight, you're like, oh yeah, no, this is nothing like what we actually have happening. And it felt like I was watching that, but with guns. Whereas when I have a malfunction or my gun doesn't do the thing I do, I kind of tip it up, look at the chamber, and go, okay, what information have I gained right now? If it's completely closed, well, I have a double action, so I'll normally pull it twice to see if it's just a light strike. And if that doesn't happen, then it's tap rack, because I'm still in battery. And if it's not in battery, then it is, okay, let's look at this problem and figure it the fuck out. Because
do you ever pull a third time just hoping?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, I'd really rather this just go off.
Oh yeah. I had a bad batch of primers for a while, and so it would just be like click, click, bang, click, bang, click, 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 bang,
Yeah.
click, and I'm like, I'm not even ejecting these. Like, I'm just gonna keep pulling this trigger until they go off.
This is something you put in the rundown where I'm so happy you put it in there. It's something you want to bitch about, and I am already opposed to whatever your thing is. But what's the deal with 410 revolvers?
I don't know what it is. Okay, so the algorithm has decided to show me a lot of dumb videos lately, and I saw a video. It was like an armored car driver, and it was an older dude, and this dude was like talking some shit to him. I assumed his coworker, it was a skid or whatever. But he goes, "Oh, you want to mess with me and my judge?" And I was like, "It is 2024, old man. Like, why the fuck are you carrying a 410 revolving like pistol?"
That's a relatively new gun, though. I mean, the concept is not, but the judge isn't that old. It's not like a 100-year-old design.
It's like a 20-year-old design.
Is it that old?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see. Judge. Let's see.
When did Taurus release the not the fudge?
First produced
the Judge.
2006.
Oh, okay. I guess it's almost 20 years old.
Almost 20 years old. So,
I mean, by the time I first heard of it, it had been around for like 6-7 years. So I guess it felt like it wasn't that old to me.
Right. But yeah, it's one of these like, because then Smith & Wesson came out with one.
The Governor.
Yeah, because they always have to follow along with terrible ideas.
No, it's a great idea. Here, oh my God, you're so wrong. It's so fun. Have you ever shot one?
I don't think so, actually.
It's not as dumb as it sounds because, and here's why. Yes, you can shoot 45 Colt cartridges out of it. You can shoot 410 shotgun shells. But the thing a lot of people don't remember or realize is if you got moon clips, you can shoot 45 autos out of it too.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Yeah. But
why do you hate fun, Jeff? Do you just not like joy?
Correct. But I also appreciate, like, part of it was that he was, like, actively carrying it as part of an armed security job. Like, I'm like,
that wouldn't be my choice, no.
Right. I'm like, bro, if you get into a shootout, you about 5 rounds of this fight. Like,
no, like the Taurus Judge and the Governor, these are great, like, prairie rancher pistols, you know, for rattlesnakes and vermin
toys.
Running around and toys. Like, no, our former Secretary of State smoked a rattlesnake off her front porch with a judge.
Oh, that sounds terrifying.
It's a thing out in the western part of the state.
Yeah, my dad lives in the west part of my state, and
are there rattlesnakes out there?
Yeah, he has.
I would think
he has snake moving tongs, and he found one time and moved it, and we're like, can you not do that?
No, this is what 12 gauges are for, Dad.
Oh no, my dad, he's trying to get deer to eat from his hand. He's not trying to shoot one.
Oh God, no! Snakes are the devil's spawn. Murder them all.
He has literally driven us back over a half a mile on the highway to pick up a snake and move it off the road.
I made the mistake of telling a coworker of mine that I'm afraid of snakes.
Oh,
And he's the biggest prankster in our building. So
you found
someday,
so many rubber snakes.
Someday I'm going. I'm actually saying this out loud, and all of a sudden, while I'm saying it,
Great Plains section's going to get interesting.
I ended it by saying, and I'm just realizing I should not have told you that I have a fear of snakes. And he said, no, you should not have. No, I don't know why the algorithm is showing them to you, but I think they're awesome. They're super fun. I had a student bring a judge to a class. I can't remember if it was a judge or a governor, but he also had moon clips and a bunch of Wolf 45 auto ammo.
Oof.
And it was fun. I just banging away. Bang, 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 bang.
And like that was his like, I'm going to carry this gun.
No, it was a fun gun. It was the one he pulled out after we were towards the end of the lesson.
Oh, gotcha.
And he's like,
okay.
Yeah, I got this too. It's really fun, but I can't figure out these. Someone told me I can shoot 45s through it. I was like, do you have moon clips? He said, yeah, but I can't figure out how to get them in. I was like, oh, it's because you have steel cased ammo and it's
too thick.
It's a little rigid, and if you're just a little meaner with the moon clips, then it worked. But it was hard to get them in.
I could see it being fun. Didn't we also have an article where a guy shot himself in the ass with one of these?
I don't know.
I feel like I've read one.
I know somebody. God, I can't think of who it was. Somebody I know told me they want to try to shoot a pheasant with a 410 out of a Judge. And that doesn't seem like a. It's going to have to be close because that thing's going to. The pattern on that's got to be awful wide.
Yeah, because I remember watching gun TV back in the early 2000s and them like shooting cardboard at like 5 yards, and it was already spreading. And of course, they're shooting birdshot, and it was covering like the entire cardboard out at 5 yards. And you're like, oh, you go any farther than that, there's not going to be many BBs left.
I'm curious. I just clicked or searched on YouTube like what the pattern looks like from a Judge on a 410, and it is all over like a 24-inch wide piece of paper. Yeah, it's not good. And this was with 4-shot.
Well, and does it say what inch barrel it has? Because there's the like 2-inch barrel. And then
it was a Public Defender polymer, so not long.
Oh yeah. No,
so it's all over the place. It's everywhere. I mean, you would really piss somebody off with it. The wad's going to do more damage than the BBs are if you were using a 4-shot.
I remember like they have the name the Judge because they said that like judges were actually keeping these in their like courts, and I'm like, that sounds idiotic.
I know. I personally know someone who is now a judge. When they were an assistant prosecutor, were issued a revolver to carry.
But the judge?
No, she wasn't a judge then. She is now, but it wasn't the judge. No, it was a snub nose 38.
Okay, because
whatever. Because
like their marketing like stuff literally said that judges were carrying them in the courtroom.
If I was a judge, I would have a judge. I would have the Gucciest judge ever
for the meme. Oh, get
yes, like and then I would pull up my robe and take a picture from behind the bench, and then I'd post it on Reddit. The judge with the judge. Well, that would be my username. Judge with judge.
Hell yeah! I would also get it engraved. Oh my god! That just made me think about something I forgot. I got to shoot I didn't get to shoot, but I got to hold a Flux Raider today.
Really?
They are dumb. I'm going to put the caveat: they're not built for properly sized humans like me. I have the picture. I will send it to Andy. I will see what he does with it. But if you've ever like, imagine you're holding like a kid's BB gun. That's what it felt like for me to hold this thing, because like there's actually no good place for your front. For my hand, it felt almost too big for the front of it.
Yeah,
and like. Trying to get down on the sight was really annoying because I got a big head, and it was interesting. And that dude shot like 4 walls.
The guy who brought it,
yeah, like he smoked the walls
just from not accounting for the height over bore of the dot. Yeah,
so it's an interesting product,
I think it's a neat product. I don't think it's gonna win matches or anything. But
he literally said he was like, I shot PCCs that didn't move around as much as this thing does, and we're like, yeah, dude, it's a cobbled together like plastic thing.
Yeah, but it's a cool one. Like
I don't disagree with the cool
functionally
factor.
really. I think it's functionally really good. For someone who's not 6'9" and giant hands.
Correct. That's why I want to put the caveat that for me it looks
most things don't work for you.
Correct, but I appreciate the concept of like, hey, they're trying to market it to like cops that may not get a lot of time to train, and they're like, hey, shooting a rifle's easier, so here's a very small rifle for you to carry around on your leg, and you're like, okay, that I appreciate the sentiment.
Yeah. No, I can't wait to see the picture of you trying to hold one to your shoulder, though. That's going to be hysterical. It was SBR'd in the whole 9?
I don't know.
Okay, don't tell Troy. Or was it Hit Factor?
It was our last Hit Factor match.
Oh, okay, so then it doesn't matter.
Yep.
All right. I got a few texts and... Well, the only emails I got were emails that were sent to the whole board, but I did get a couple texts from people I know around the country that we're kind of like, after the last podcast, yeah, 10, 5, 16 could just go away. Because the other two rules do pretty much cover every other contingency that they're trying to prevent. It literally covers it. Because 10, 5, 6, you have to be facing downrange to get the 3-foot radius around you. If you're facing uprange, you don't get the 3-foot radius.
Right.
So it's a problem looking for a solution. Anyway, or a solution looking for a problem.
That just reminded me of one other dumb thing. If it's really cold out and you don't want your gun to freeze, shoot from appendix. It'll keep your gun warm.
Oh, that's brilliant.
We had a guy, one of the Iowa boys, come to our match, and he was shooting his 2011 from appendix, and he did it specifically because it kept his gun warm.
That's really smart. That's actually pretty smart. I remember being in a chat one time where a guy was trying to figure out a way to make like a gun warmer, and I immediately thought of hand warmers because I was using those the other day in my gloves. They're fantastic. The toe warmers are even better. Oh my God. Toe warmers are amazing. But to put those like in some sort of case to just create enough warmth inside to keep your gun from being ice cold when you grab it. Yeah. Because I've shot cold weather matches that were like in April, but it was 30 degrees when we started. Yep. And man, it doesn't matter if it's a metal gun or a plastic gun. Like, it's cold when you grab it.
So the ENGC boys will figure this out because the Weitzel's and our friend Dave, they have coolers that they put heaters in, and then they put the magazines for their 22s in the cooler. And then because they're shooting 22s, they can just put the whole gun in the cooler in its bag. So, yes, they just walk, like, their cart is set with all of the things needed to make sure that you do not shoot in discomfort.
Yeah. The amount of hacks that using a cooler for warmth is something you'd never think of, but I do. Honestly, I use an insulated water bottle when I go hunting to keep my water from freezing. Yep. The water's still cold when I'm putting it in there because it's been in a water tank that was in the back of my pickup, but at least it was still liquid. It wasn't ice. And I'll put it in a insulated water bottle because then I'm not like trying to drink out of a frozen bottle. And I know there's like 3-gunners will put their shotgun ammo in coolers because some of the shotguns, the tuned up shotguns, or shotgun ammo can be more temperature sensitive if it gets too hot.
Plastic. Yep.
And it can cause feeding issues. So they keep it in a cooler and keep it cool for the whole time. And it's
fun historical fact. That's why shotguns were useless during World War I and II, is that the cartridges would expand too much and block up the shotguns.
Yeah. Unless it was warm enough or dry enough. Okay. Speaking of, when I was going to go hunting and was shooting my 30-06 and even the 6 ARC, every time I do this in the fall, it's like, oh man, this is so fun. I haven't done this in so long. It's so fun to just pull out this long gun and just that totally steady, rested practice of just press, boom. And yep, I called my shot there, and I look at the target, and yep, there's a bullet hole right where my crosshair lifted from. Yes. And then, okay, I got my dope here, and I'm going to aim it at the 300-yard plate down there and take my time, pressing that trigger, bang, pong, yes. It's so fun. And now I'm bored. Because, I achieved it, especially if I achieve it without having to try over and over again.
Right.
Like the
it's easy mode.
When it comes to bolt action rifle shooting, once I'm hitting the thing, if I hit the same target twice, I'm done. It's over. I officially achieved the goal. And since I rarely shoot beyond 300 yards, which is not hard. I mean, to guys who shoot long range, this is like me shooting a 7-yard target with a pistol. It's nothing for guys who shoot long range rifle. And I'm not trying to shit on hardcore rifle shooters. That's not what I'm talking about. All I'm saying is as a pistol guy, really, which is weird because I never set out to be a pistol guy. I set out to be a rifle guy, but this whole pistol USPSA thing just sort of sucked me in because it's like, hey, you really suck at this. It's way more fun to try to get better at something you really suck at as opposed to just stay good at something you're already good at.
Yep.
And it's way harder to get good at something that you're already good enough at that you're like, I don't need to practice that.
Yeah.
And I never think that about pistol shooting. That's never a thought in my head ever.
Anytime you're like, this will be fine, you're like, the pistol gods will punish you for your hubris.
Yeah, and I mean, my 30-06 I was talking about earlier. I bought it used in 2018. I don't even know what year it was made. A buddy of mine who works at Shields guessed it was probably in the vicinity of like 20. Somewhere between 2008 and 2012, he figures it was made. Maybe a little later. I don't remember. But I bought it used, and for $425, I put a cheap, back when Nikon was still making rifle scopes, I bought a Nikon, I think it was the last year they made rifle scopes. I put a Pro Staff 5 on it, like a $229 scope, because I just wanted a simple reticle, and every other scope had some complicated Christmas tree bullshit reticle. I'm like, this is a hunting rifle. I don't need to do math. I just need to hold a little higher, maybe. So I got that. The glass is shit, and it still just shoots lights out. It really is a fantastic shooting rifle. And I shot 2 rounds to test, is it zeroed? And hit on either side of a USPSA paster, 7/8 paster. Like, one hit on the left edge, one hit on the right edge. I'd say we're cooking with gas. It's zeroed at 100 yards. And then I sent 1 round at the 8-inch plate at 300 yards, and it went bong. Okay. And this is just a frickin' deer rifle. I didn't even have I forgot my rifle bags. So I was just shooting like off my rifle ammo bag, the old, I need to talk about that bag. That is a cool product people should know about. And you got one. I'm going to talk about it right now. I think it's called the Zombie Hunter bag. LA Police Gear sells it. It was the bag they handed out at, Low Cap Nats in 2021. That's where I got my first one. And I've since bought 2 more.
Okay.
Because it's a cheap bag and it's incredibly useful. It's like, they were $25. I don't know what they are now.
Yeah.
Gear Zombie Hunter bag. That is what it's called. Goofy name. It's got like a place for a radio and a port for the antenna and the cable and shit to come out the top. It's $25. But it's like, it's basically just a range bag. And it's cheap and it's awesome and it's pretty heavy duty, and I've got 3 of them. One is I bought a red one. That's for rifle stuff. So just rifle shooting stuff goes in that one. I bought another green one that I didn't know what I was going to get it for, but I just wanted another one that was a different color. And actually, all my podcasting gear goes in that. So
nice.
All the mics and mic cables and extra headphones and all that shit goes in the green one because my podcast recorder case is also green, so they go together. And then I have the black one that I got at the Low Cap Nats match that I got for free because they sponsored it or whatever. So if you're looking for some sort of like a not small but not even really medium-sized bag, like slightly smaller than medium-sized bag, and it doesn't look like a traditional range bag. Like if you know the big Midway competition bag, like that's pretty huge. Yeah. It's way smaller than that. Like that would fit in the Midway competition bag, but it's got a pouch for a pistol. It's got some mag holders if you want them, radio, whatever wire bullshit on it. But just a cool bag. I like them a lot. Anyway, okay, I talked about that thing. Black Friday was a thing that happened.
It was.
And usually I end up buying something for myself on this weekend every year, or many things for myself, and I don't actually buy gifts for anyone because like the shooting world has deals for stuff, and there were deals this year. I didn't buy a thing this year though. Not a damn thing.
Yeah, I I bought magazine springs. That was
Ooh, that's sexy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just the sexiest of sexies. No one was offloading Shadow 2s for $400, and so I was out of luck for what I am searching for. And most of the deals are like weird accessories that I have no concept or care of what they are. But the other deals are like, isn't that the normal price? Like, I feel like that's the normal price.
There were Shields actually had. If you're in a city or near a city that has a Shields, which they're kind of halfway national now. I know I went to the one in Chandler, Arizona, suburban Phoenix. So I know there's one down there. There's one in Dallas, I think. And they're kind of everywhere in this part of the country. But they were selling Defender or Vortex Defender XLs for $200. Now, they're not the OG, they're not the Defenders you would buy, because like Ben Steger Pro Shop had them for $50 off, but those are actually like the current Vortex Defenders. They had a run of them when they were testing or whatever, and they were calling them Comp Dot because that's stamped on the side, but it's the same dot. And I don't know if they were like demos or what the story is behind them, but it's basically we had a bunch of these and we're gonna sell them off. However, so it's the same thing. It's the same electronics, same everything. It's just stamped Comp Dot on the outside instead of Defender XL. So whatever those were, they were selling those for like $200. I know a couple of people that picked those up. They were also doing primers for, I think it was $65 for a brick of 1,000. You know, for like the standard ones. You weren't getting your BR4s for that or anything, but I had this idea to talk about this like a half hour before we were supposed to start recording the show, and then I found out I'm getting called in at 4 a.m., so I had to go run errands. And did you find any more deals with the hot shit over the Black Friday weekend for gun stuff?
I mean, I found a couple interesting, but like, so if you're looking for good deals, Reddit gun deals is like, go sit in that forum, because you will find just the most random things. I found one dealer that's got Shield Pluses with a red dot package for $400 plus shipping. I mean,
damn,
that's a pretty solid little deal. But like,
it's probably a shit dot, but who cares?
Yeah,
that's a good deal for just the gun,
right? That's just kind of the general trend among all of them is just decent, you know, $30 off, $50 off guns. It looks like I don't feel like they are like burning it down right now with all of the uncertainty in the market, and so most of the ones I'm seeing, like any good deal I'm seeing, are non-firearm related. Because even the ammo stuff, like CCI Blazer, if you buy 1,500, it's 23 cents a round, and I'm like, wasn't it already 23 cents a round? I feel like I paid 23 cents a round. But
yeah. The best I ever saw that at Shields was like 26 cents a round.
Yeah,
I think before tax or whatever, but and then like randomly, like the local gun stores here might have something a little cheaper, but it's usually kind of one-off stuff. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to it as much this year because I was just busy the whole time. But we did post this on our Reddit for the super thread. We were asking, so what is the thing you're likely to buy for yourself during the Christmas shopping season kickoff extravaganza? Because, you know, people don't buy stuff for other people. But apparently some people do. I believe this is Austin, said he bought his wife a 1022 for Steel Challenge, but she wasn't as appreciative of the gift as he had hoped.
Hey, honey, I bought you this thing to get involved in my hobby.
Yeah. Oh, you're not going to use it? Okay, I guess I will. Steven, Walther PDP steel frame with the ZR Tactical Long Stroke Guide rod and 5 MOA Vortex Defender XL mounted on an Arise manufacturing aegis was... That's awfully specific. Fuck.
Is
that a joke?
Yes.
Okay. I think I get the joke now. Yep. I get the joke now. Okay, that I hate it when I don't get the joke. It's
a very specific joke that I only know because he explained it to me when we were driving up to your match, I believe.
Okay. Here's just a separate question altogether. I think the only 2 people actually responded to the question, but that's okay because it got people talking. You have an endless assortment of ice cream and toppings. What sundae are you making?
So I'm a basic ass bitch. And
Me too.
I'm getting mint chip ice cream, and I am gorging myself on that.
Oh, you're spicy compared to me.
Vanilla chocolate sauce.
Oh, dude, yeah. But it's my wife's vanilla, which I actually had this today while I was watching random movies on Netflix. My wife's homemade vanilla ice cream, which is better than any homemade ice cream anybody listening to this has ever had. I will fight you. It's 100% true. And the Hershey's, oh, fuck, what do they call it? It's the Hershey's, shell? No, it's the Hershey syrup, but not like the high fructose corn syrup, the regular version. It's like the
boo.
No, it's better. Like a lot of times the stuff with real sugar sucks. This is actually better. It actually tastes like chocolate. And then when I have the regular Hershey's, I'm like, oh, that tastes like acid or something weird.
Yeah, because our chocolate has vomit in it. It's awesome.
I can't think of what it is, but the Simply 5. It's just 5 ingredients. If you've never had that, it's a really good chocolate syrup. Like it just
okay.
But that's it. Oh, and some kind of caramel syrup too, because caramel and chocolate together are magic. So, yeah, that's it. I'm not a sprinkle guy. Don't like sprinkles. I would maybe add some like mini chocolate chips.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
I've done that too, but
I just love my mint ice cream.
What?
I just love my mint ice cream.
Yeah, I love mint, but I've never really had mint ice cream. I can't say I don't like it because I don't think I've ever had it. But Beaster Bunny 12 won a Glock in a Glock match that'll likely not shoot much. So Black Friday Glock stuff for sure. What are goals y'all have within the sport? I think mine is to show up and tell dirty jokes and make fun of my mishaps and other mishaps. That's the ticket to make master right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the friends you make along the way.
Yeah.
I'm definitely at the point where I think I will try for GM this next season. Since we're shooting USPSA again, but like I've also embraced that like it's the friendships that are the important thing that keep me coming to the matches and doing them because I get to see my friends and hang out and go to lunch together. So like because I'm at the upside of the sport. I
actually don't see myself ever quitting USPSA. I just don't see it because even when I don't care about being competitive anymore, I still like it. It's still fun, you know? And like you said, hanging out with the people at the match it's not the reason I go, but it's a big part of why I go, you know?
Yeah, it's golf. It's a different form of golf. Like most people who golf are absolutely terrible at it, and I don't know how anyone gets good at that game. I hate it, but like it's showing up, hang out with your buddies, doing an activity that you can talk about later.
Mm-hmm. Heidi posted, which by the way, where does Cobra Salad come from? That's like the greatest handle.
I don't remember.
I can't wait to hear that story. But anyway, got a bunch of bullets for reloading next year. Speaking of reloading, I need someone to help me diagnose why the hell primers keep going upside down in my 650.
Yeah, I don't know.
If anybody has a clue, has owned a 650, and knows why my primers are flipping upside down, yes, it's clean. Cleanliness is not the problem because it still happens. It's something I don't know.
It's a problem that just started.
It's been slowly getting worse, and it used to only happen with federal primers, but now it's happening with CCIs too, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, someone mentioned the Vortex Comp XL at Shields was $200. That was a pretty good deal. This was an interesting one. Blundering Curiosity. Has anyone else noticed single stack 1911s becoming more popular? I can't say I have where I live.
In Area 3, I haven't seen it. I know we have. I think there's a 1911 kind of group that will bring them out, but I don't know if there's no resurgence at my club.
They said they've seen more people using them at their local matches. So, I mean, that's cool.
And it kind of goes in little spurts, because there was a time at my club where 1911s did become more popular because like 4 or 5 of us switched to them. So there was like competition to be had.
Yeah.
And then when we all went back to carry optics or production or whatever our division was, it died again. And it kind of has to be like, hey, we all agree that we're going to jump into this and make this a thing for a little bit for it to become a thing.
By the way, I forgot to say it earlier. Patreon.com/NotAnotherShootingShow. Just $3.57 a month gets you an extra episode every single week. I was talking about this with Bruce a whole bunch last weekend when I was out there, but you know, the whole limited 10 with an optic thing, if that happens. Did we talk about this on the show?
I feel like it's come up.
I think it was just with Bruce I was talking about. Like, of any division, I think the revolver dot change is dumb. Leave it the hell alone. We don't need to, like, we do more damage by changing than not changing. Right. I mean, revolver already got damaged when they all of a sudden allowed the 8-shot revolvers, and then everybody had to buy a new gun all of a sudden. But I just leave that alone. But L10, adding a dot to L10, now you have single stacks that can have a dot, and you have major scoring. So the people who are whining about their, let's add major to L10 or to limited optics, no. But if we add optics to L10, a division that I'm ready to do away with, sorry, East Coast and low cap states where you're like, no! We need more classifiers that don't require more than 8 rounds, you know, in a string or whatever, without a reload. But it's like the one old division where I'm like, that it might. Now, I know capacity is the thing, but you got a bunch of people with 40 guns that they're converting to 9mm guns. Well, my old 40 gun, I can throw my 9mm barrel and extractor and mags in it, and I have a 40 gun again. That'd be kind of fun. Yeah. I mean, if there's going to be some people shooting L10 major with optics,
could be interesting.
It could be. I'm not saying it will be. It won't be dominant. But
it's at least something different enough to make it special.
I think more people could end up shooting that than production.
Yeah.
That's possible, because it's a far more interesting division to me right now than production 15.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. And yeah. Let's see. Somebody's getting a trigger and mag upgrades. And yeah, well, that was pretty much everything from the Reddit. Let's see. What else did we have here? Oh, speaking of Reddit, our Reddit is now at 200 people following it. That's really cool. Jeff was very excited about that because he's like, hey, did you see our Reddit's at 200? And I was like, oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Sweet.
As I've said before, like, I was unsure that this would go anywhere, and that we're have a Reddit of 200 people. It's like, oh, holy shit! Like that's a thing.
Yeah, we're in the top 41% rank by size. So like we're in the 41st percentile. That's, you know, we're not in the 10th percentile, but 90th. Do we want to be in the top 41? No, top 5% would be like the most exclusive for a Reddit our size. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So it must be like traffic for the number of members. Is that how they're figuring it?
It might just be that as a sub with 200 members, we are in the top 41% of all subreddits on Reddit.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
Only 200 would get you that high?
Yeah, you got to imagine that there are a lot of very, very, very specific ones that never go anywhere.
Well, I suppose, yeah.
I just clicked on ranking, and like, let's see, One of them is called ADHD chess. That one, okay. That one actually sounds kind of interesting. Atlanta Silverbacks. Don't know what that means. Biohacking you. That sounds terrifying.
I guess I still thought of ours as being really, really tiny because like the South Dakota sub is 31,000 members. You know, it's like a big Facebook group basically.
Yeah. But South Dakota also has 1 million people. We don't. Oh yeah, that's right. You guys.
We don't even have 1 million people. The one for Sioux Falls itself is 27,000. I wonder what the Los Angeles Reddit is. How many people are a member of that? Only 699,000 members.
Yep. So, I mean, we cater to a population of around 30,000. So, to have 200 members is pretty good.
Omaha, 81,000. Right under that, Omaha BBC Slut, 4.7 thousand members. Oh, here's one for you, Jeff. Omaha Gay Bros. There's 6,500 members of that one.
Does not shock me.
I love it when the search results just give you something fun. Okay. Did we go through everything? We did go through everything.
Here's one last thing that I found in a question.
Okay.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, Thanksgiving was dandy. We ended up leaving 2.5 hours later because it snowed the day before Thanksgiving, which it wasn't in the forecast. We're out throwing asphalt in potholes, and all of a sudden we hear over the radio, I'm like the small town remote shop outside of Sioux Falls, but we're part of the same group as the two Sioux Falls shops, and we hear one of their guys go, "Boy, it's sure snowing up by Baltic." And we look at each other in the truck, go, "Fuck no." And it ended up just being a little dusting, but it got really slippery. There were accidents all over the place. So we're out throwing salt and brine on. Yeah, you're brining a turkey. I'm out brining roads. That's what I was doing the day before Thanksgiving. And but then we finally headed off to my in-laws because there was no more snow in the forecast, and went up to Minnesota and hung out there for overnight and most of the day on Sunday. My mother-in-law doesn't really cook anymore, so they took us out for some Thanksgiving buffet. And it was, oh dude, the roast beef. Usually when you get like slices of roast beef in a pan of gravy or au jus or whatever, like you have to have all the au jus because it's so dried out, it's terrible.
Yep.
This was not that.
Nice.
It was delicious. It fell apart. They had slices. It was falling apart in the tongs. You basically were grabbing clumps of roast beef. It was wonderful. And the mashed potatoes were real mashed potatoes with I like a little bit of skin in them. And then they also randomly had chicken penne Alfredo was another option, which, right next to the stuffing seemed a little odd, but I took a scoop of it.
Right.
My sister-in-law assumed it was pasta salad because it's Minnesota,
Right.
It wasn't pasta salad. It was Alfredo. But no, and then we hung out at my in-laws, and my son, instead of playing the card games, I got hooked on Retro Bowl. You ever play that?
Nope.
My son got me hooked on Retro Bowl. It's kind of like Tecmo Bowl from back in the day in Nintendo. Did you ever play that? Are you old enough to remember that?
I don't think that was on my game list.
OG Nintendo. Did you ever have the OG Nintendo?
Oh yeah. Duck Hunt was
Tecmo Bowl and Super Tecmo Bowl were like the first great football games ever.
I think if I didn't play it on the Nintendo, I played it on like Game Boy as like.
It wasn't the same there, but there's this game on. It's an app, and it's Retro Bowl, and it's kind of like Tecmo Bowl, and it's super fun. And I basically played it most of Thanksgiving Day.
Nice.
While I was hanging out with family. It was really weird.
As you're one to do.
And then I got really tired of it really fast, so I haven't hardly played it since. How was your Thanksgiving? Uneventful.
The main event was going to my sister's house, and it was just there was like 6 of us, and that was kind of the full extent. When your family scatters, you not really not really many people to hang out with.
How was the food? What did you eat?
So we all the family traditions. They made turkey. I don't know why, because none of us actually like turkey. So I requested that we don't do turkey again. Then we had mac and cheese, broccoli, rice and cheese, stuffing, and I'm forgetting something. I can't remember. Oh, and my sister makes mashed potatoes to die for. Like you can see the butter still in it. Like,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I did not lose a pound.
No. Oh, that's good. I know this is sacrilegious to some people, but stuffing is like the most overrated thing at Thanksgiving.
I will fight you.
It is more overrated than cranberry sauce is at Christmas.
Oh, cranberry sauce is awful.
Which, by the way, no, it's not. I finally tried it because I was mistaken about what it was. Because usually whenever I at my grandma's house, whenever you saw cranberry sauce, it was literally the can, and it was just this can-shaped gelatinous mass sitting sideways on a plate, and you just scooped off of it. I put it on something, and I was like, "Oh, that's cranberry sauce," and I put it on the turkey. Man, that's not a terrible upgrade to turkey, especially if it's really dried out and shitty.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, because turkey is they picked the worst bird for Thanksgiving.
It's not terrible. It's my favorite sandwich meat.
I've never been a turkey fan.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's white meat, you know. I'm not a big dark meat fan, but I like the legs, I guess.
Yeah, I come from a dark meat family, so
I know I'm getting it this year because my nephew demanded it. For Christmas this year, there will be Swedish meatballs,
nice.
which my grandmother on my dad's side made the greatest. She was the best cook and baker of anybody I have ever personally known. She was so good at it. And there was something magical about her kitchen. I don't know if it was the metallurgy of her pans or if it was the water in Beersford or if there was just something she was not including in the recipe when she gave it to everybody, which is probably the most likely case because there was shit she left out of a brownie recipe when my wife learned how to make them because my wife was trying to figure them out and couldn't make them the same. And then she went and learned from the master, and then the master became the master.
Nice.
But my nephew became a chef. Like he went to he has a food science degree. I don't know what the hell that is, but like he's like a chemist with food.
Yep.
He could not figure it out. He's like, I can't, no matter what I do, no matter what fancy ingredients, what fancy cream I buy, I can't make them the same as grandma. And she was just buying random Campbell shit at the grocery store. How she did it, nobody knows.
Yep. My grandma's thing was pancakes. Like she made these bomb pancakes. I got all the ingredients together and I tried to make them and never could replicate them.
Yeah. There's something about grandmas. I don't know what it is.
Yep.
They just know what's up. Especially like newer grandmas, probably less and less so, you know, like as far as bakers go. Because like I've had girlfriends' moms who were really shitty cooks. So like when they're grandmas, they're no, that's not going to be they're not going to be that kind of grandma. That's for sure. Anyway, thank you so much for downloading and listening and subscribing to our podcast. I haven't mentioned this in a while. If you go leave ratings on like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, that helps us. So, you know, leave 5 stars, write something if you want to. But I actually got a YouTube version of the podcast set up with it's just the audio and the album cover. There's only one random episode up there on it, but you can find it right now. Because like I keep saying, video sucks. Everything about doing video sucks. And
I have to wear a shirt.
I'm not necessarily planning on us doing video. I'm just putting a video that has no video, just a picture, static picture for the whole episode, and then the audio so that it can appear on YouTube. But it's just like one older episode. It's not recent, and you might find it. But I'm not posting there regularly because it takes time.
Yep.
And yeah. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy, I guess Cyber Monday will be in the past by the time this airs. What's are we missing anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, on that note, he's Jeff King. I'm Andy Erickson. This is Not Another Shooting Show.